This is what this episode comes down to. This, exactly what she says. It's amazing. Last episode, they gave us the line that explained, must everything be boring and sad? That was a great way to explain it. This is the best way to explain this episode.
Might as well wear a sign that says, I promise to disappoint you.
There you go. I promise to disappoint you. Andor, in a nutshell. G'day guys and welcome to Raging Rhino. It is time for episode 5 of Andor. Now we're almost at the halfway mark of this series and to me not much has really happened. It's been quite boring, very slow. Episode 3 is probably the best so far, but we have only had 4. We're on the 5th one now. But as we keep going and as I keep thinking about this series, it just seems to be more of the same method that Disney are coming up with. We've got another heist story going on. Something's probably going to go wrong because they go wrong in every other series that they did with Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Mandalorian, and of course everything in the sequel trilogy. But also too, through this series, there's been a lot of story threads that have just fallen off. Now they might obviously bring them back up again later. There was the girl in the first 2 episodes that saw her boyfriend die in the 3rd episode. She's no longer in the series, and of course the story thread of Andor trying to find his sister has completely been dropped. So we'll see if they catch that back up again, and maybe we'll get to see a little bit more of those story threads. But without further ado, let's get into this episode. If you're new here, of course, I watched the episode. You'll get my reactions as I'm watching it, and you'll get my thoughts and my review at the very end. Let's get into this.
He's Clem, he's here, that's all that matters.
That line, I fucking hate that.
As of this morning,
It's her best
the
explanation.
Milana system is...
Mother.
Oh, one more thing. The only thing that would complete the Disney Star Wars method or formula would be to bring in a child and have babysitters in space, which we'll see if they do that. Look, it's Blue Milk! Oh my god! Introduce another character.
She'll be up soon.
But it was her idea to have you there, so these guys should be asking more questions.
You didn't come with much.
Are they retconning their own shit
built a lot
again?
of
Because
cages,
I thought he
huh?
was in the fight since he was 6 years old.
Tree remembers.
These breaks at the weakest point.
Oh, you're worried about the kids. She's already sharing a blanket, if that's what you're wondering.
She's
They would've
already
taken us
sharing a
down by now.
blanket. Because Andor
Here to
loves
win and
kids.
Walk away.
Does Mon Mothma have a daughter?
I don't have early class.
Get your coat. It's not
OG Star Wars, I need to know. Did Mon Mothma have a daughter, or have they
Am
just
I
created
serious?
her like this?
Up the day.
I didn't choose this conversation.
I don't want to listen to this conversation. Wow, Mon Mothma chose her husband wisely and had a fucking bitch-ass kid.
You don't know how to get it out of there.
How do you input the weight?
What were they gonna do if he wasn't there? And how does he know that? Oh my god. This is so disappointing.
We belong here.
Jumping all over the place
Following
here.
orders. Let's switch.
Oh man. Look, it's another TIE fighter!
Surprise from above is never as shocking as one from below.
What? God, we really are jumping all over the place in this episode. God, I hate the way she looks, I hate the way she acts, it's so bad.
I don't know what I'm doing. About any of it.
No, you
Yes,
clearly
do.
don't.
Targeting consoles from Jakku, proton warheads from Base K, the Steerguard Star Path.
There you go,
He's right,
Jakku. Oh my
Never
god.
climb the same fence twice.
It's too random to be random.
This is so shit to be shit. I thought he was supposed to be an Imperial that goes back to that base. Like, isn't this the night that they're supposed to be doing the raid?
I needn't tell you how wrong
hang on
you
a
were
second.
about Uncle Harlow.
How did we get from night, them burning it, to the rebellion, they're proposing a toast, to literally daytime? I'm confused by that. Did we have a time jump? I don't get it. What? Like, look at that. It's literally they're standing around the campfire, and not long before that, the scene before that, it was the middle of the afternoon, the middle of the day. I thought we just jumped to the night, but then all of a sudden, boom, it's daytime, and they're leaving. So a time jump in this storyline as well.
Stairs to the hangar.
What?
What difference does it make?
She just doesn't answer fucking questions. We're not even going to see the fucking raid tonight, are we?
I just want what's mine.
Yeah, don't put me on the spot.
Enough! Everyone stands down. Everyone!
Oh, so he's the 7th one. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, the slowest fucking show in the world. It's so boring and slow. It's so fucking boring and slow. Oh man. Okay, first things first. They're jumping all over the place. The edits are crazy in this. We go from this storyline with this guy and his mother to jumping to, obviously it doesn't start there. It starts with Andor. Oh no, it does start there. Sorry, my bad. Fucking, it then jumps to Andor and he's been, you know, searched. So she doesn't trust him, which should then mean that, like, why do they think that she was telling the truth about him being always a part of the plan, which didn't make any sense to me. As you come through, it then jumps to Mon Mothma, who's having breakfast or something, or lunch with her husband and her daughter, that seems to just be an absolute arrogant bitch to her mother. Then it jumps back to Andor's story. Like, this is all over the place. There's a lot of talking, a lot of walking. That just, to me, it's just boring. A lot of the conversations, there's a fair few conversations in there that just don't mean anything. They are irrelevant to any story thread, to any plot. Then, like I said, there was also that edit in there where it goes from daytime to nighttime to daytime for these guys. They had no plan in regards to how they were going to get their the ship out of the bunker or the fortress. This guy, the leader of the base, is another Imperial spy for the rebellion that's obviously working for them. And he's making sure things are happening at the base the way that they want it to happen so that they can get this, the credits or whatever it is that they're stealing, the Imperial payroll. It jumps back to Andor, who's going through the training. It then jumps back to this crash scene that they're just still cleaning up now, and the Imperials are now taking over or putting an occupation on the planet, and this guy's going to be in charge of it. It then cuts back to Andor, who's going through soldier training, and he seems to know who's left-handed and who's right-handed, and that must make him smart or intelligent or something. It cuts back to this guy who just, this conversation just meant nothing, again, to anyone or anything. It just seems to be that he's trying to set it up so that they can pull off this heist, because he's a part of this rebellion. It cuts back to Andor, who gets pissed off about this guy moving his stuff because the Kyber crystal is in the bag. It then cuts to this Imperial chick that just can't act for shit. And I don't know, there's something about her face that just annoys the shit out of me. There's, between the characters too, there's not a lot of chemistry. You know, you can sometimes have some bad actors or some bad performances, but there's chemistry between the characters. There's a lot of lacking in chemistry between them. I don't really know what's going on here. She obviously just knows that there's a connection between the thing that Andor stole in episodes 1, 2, and 3 that he was trying to sell to Luthen. That now means nothing. That story thread now means nothing, but it's allowed them to have this connection, or her to have this connection, and she feels that it's necessary for her to track it somehow, and this guy seems to think she's onto something. She's always got that, man, she's another Brie Larson, to me. Wooden post that just can't emote any other thing than looking like she's, I don't know, her face, her mouth, there's something about, I fucking hate it. And her eyes, she's always looking, ugh. Like that downward frown almost. It's so weird.
He's right, though.
He's right, though. She's talking always through her teeth. She doesn't do anything else but talk through her teeth like this. Watch.
Too spread out to be
Too
organized.
spread out to be organized. Look at the face on that. It's amazing. Fucking hell.
I know this.
I know this.
If I was them,
If I was them,
this is how I
this
do
is
it.
how I'd do it.
I'd spread it out.
I'd spread it out. I don't even know what they're talking about. Oh, man. And then this is where, like I said, it was them training, right? And Andor getting pissed off about his stuff being carried, and then he takes the kyber crystal out of his boot to put it around his neck, just so that he can get busted with it later. And then they're burning this in the middle of the night. You look out there. It's nighttime. So we've gone from daytime to nighttime, and then all of a sudden, it hasn't even cut. Look at this. It's burning. It's nighttime. It's burning. Daytime. Weird. It's the weirdest episode out of all of them. It's just as slow and just as boring as episodes 1, 2, and 4. But it's made even worse by the constant jumping around, the constant talking garbage, drivel, and walking. Lots and lots of walking. Because these guys just go on a walk that takes... It seems to take the whole day, but yet there's time jumps while they're just at base camp. It's so weird. So weird. And then we jump back to this. He's still eating his breakfast that he was served before, his little Cocoa Pops. But yet they're dressed a little bit differently, and she's spoken to their uncle. That must be a part of the Imperials, and she's apologized for his actions. Man. And then that ends. That conversation ends. It's weird as we cut back to them walking more and talking more. And then he goes down and basically he's provoking them to have to do this work on the night that the eye comes out. Basically the meteor shower, right? And they see the eye. But the reason why it's so enticing for people to come and work at this base is so that once every 3 years at least they might get an opportunity to see the eye. So he's telling them that they need to paint something. These guys make the argument that, come on, Commander, you know, let the guys have the night off. We'll get it done the night after. And then he allows that and walks away with a smile on his face because obviously he's working for the rebels, right? So this is all that conversation, and you see him
know how close they've come.
walk away with this little smirk. There it is there. So he's obviously getting what he wants because he's a part of the rebellion, right? And it shows the credits or whatever it is that they're going for. It cuts back to Andor, and this is when this guy walks over and takes the kyber crystal off his neck. And this conversation is really weird. I knew you were hiding something. Like, okay, he was hiding a kyber crystal worth 30,000 credits. So, does that mean that he's not a part of this team, or that means he could be a spy of some sort? His argument is the fact that why are you on this robbery, this theft, if you've got a crystal worth 30,000 credits? He then ends up explaining to them that he is getting paid for it. He makes some apology to Andor about how his brother died, which I don't know how that's relevant. I mean, it's relevant to building on his story, but it's not relevant to making the apology. They have more conversation, more argument. Andor's ready to kill. She's just terrible. She's a terrible leader. This is where he explains he's being paid. And it cuts back now to... Okay, so the last time we saw Mon Mothma, she was having an argument with her daughter at breakfast time about the fact that they had to go somewhere and do something. Again, massive time jump. Something's now happened where they've been to some event together, Mon Mothma and her husband, and now they're leaving. That thing. They have more conversation. He asks the driver to take the highway or something, and that's it. That's it. Content that's not needed. Heaps of filler. Then we get more walking and more talking. The model looked exactly like you made it. Yeah, we've been coming up here for months, so I've had plenty of time to study. What? Wow. Wow. It cuts back to him. He looks at the picture of Andor, and Andor looks really young in that picture. That's all you get of that. Then we find out that that Imperial guy is the seventh man. He says, I need to know that you can listen to your orders. This is where the apology comes. She tells Andor that he is now in charge, right? 100% in charge. And the two girls go off to do their little part of the mission, which we don't know what that is. And then Luthen is basically listening in to try and find out if they've successfully had the mission. And you know what people are going to be looking at most in this fucking shot? The two holocrons. The guy's got a Sith holocron and a fucking Jedi holocron in his fucking store. Seriously. Palpatine would be here in no time taking both of those fucking things. She can't stand to see him all nervous. We get more bland garbage conversation and the episode ends. When we ended the episode last week, Andor was told that he needs to learn all of that before tomorrow, right? Because that's when the mission is taking place. It seems like days have gone by in this one episode. Days. Choppy as fuck. Choppy as fuck. We are all over the place. None of the conversations make any sense. The writing is horrible, the dialogue is horrible, and the editing is fucking horrible. And a lot of it is garbage filler. I'm not even joking. This is by far the worst episode of Andor. This is by far the worst episode of any of their TV series, and that's saying a fucking lot. Because this doesn't break canon nowhere near as much as some of the episodes of fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi or Book of Boba Fett or even The Mandalorian. It is just bad. You take the Star Wars label off this and no one would be praising it. I can't wait to see what people think. They're going to be like amazed by a TIE fighter again and amazed by seeing a Sith holocron and a Jedi holocron in a fucking store. They're going to be amazed by the conversation about the Kyber crystal. How dare Andor do this? Hide a Kyber crystal. All Andor really had to say was that it's a family heirloom. It means a lot to me. That means nothing to anything, and he wouldn't have had to tell them that he was being paid to be there. I am flabbergasted by this episode. Mind-bogglingly, fucking boringly dumb. And I will say, the best explanation for this episode is what the mother says.
I promise to disappoint you.
There you go. That was what this episode was all about. I promise to disappoint you. Amazing. Amazing. Amazingly bad. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got. Let me know what you guys think of this episode in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the series if you are watching it. We're, like I said, halfway in and nothing the fuck has happened. Story threads have been dropped. We still know nothing about Andor doesn't care about finding his sister anymore. The fucking chick that lost her boyfriend that fucked him before he died, right? Implied that she fucked him, right? Who cares? Fuck that. No, that'll come up later because, of course, they're now putting an Imperial occupation on that planet. Anyway, like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Once again, we'll be breaking down this episode in Casual Rage on Friday. And, of course, there'll be episode 6 next week. Later, guys.